In 1969, John Wayne, Glenn Campbell, and Kim Darby teamed up to create the Henry Hathaway-directed movie True Grit. The leads in the film are supported by Robert Duvall, Dennis Hopper, Jeff Corey, and Strother Martin. Not only does Glenn Campbell star in the film, he sings the Oscar-nominated title song. The screenplay was written by Marguerite Roberts, and it was an adaptation from Charles Portis's 1968 novel that bears the same name. The story is about a young girl named Maddie Ross. She's somewhat unattractive, has a boyish haircut, but she's wise beyond her years. She did the books for her father's ranch and kept everything completely organized on the ranch. She often speaks her mind and is completely unafraid to face the harsh realities of life, one being the sudden murder of her father. He's gunned down in Fort Smith by one of his employees, a drunken gambler named Tom Chaney, played by Jeff Corey. She journeys to the town to collect his body, but she's also on the hunt for someone capable of rendering justice to her for her father's death. Rooster Cogburn, played by John Wayne, is the prime candidate for this job. He's a deputy marshal that has jurisdiction in the Indian Territory. This is where Chaney is likely to be hiding out. Texas Ranger LaBeef, played by Glenn Campbell, is on the hunt for Chaney too, this being for a totally different crime of killing a senator. After they negotiate splitting the reward money up from the state, the family, and Maddie herself, this trio heads out to speak with a man who may know the whereabouts of Chaney and his likely accomplices, Ned Pepper, played by Robert Duvall, and Mexican Bob. These two bounty hunters don't like the idea of an inexperienced girl tagging along with them, but Maddie just won't take no for an answer. When they stumble upon crooks Quincy, played by Jeremy Slate, and Moon, played by Dennis Hopper, waiting for Pepper and his gang to show up, they hatch a plan for an ambush. The movie spends an enormous amount of time developing the three main characters. This involves creating their personality and details that help make them become really believable, personable, and very interesting. Cogburn is given time to discuss his past, and Maddie has several opportunities to prove her worth. The whole time she's searching for a man that has grit to carry out the job that she needs done. But she steadily reveals herself as a woman of comparable substance. Her ambition, spitfire attitude, and feistiness ensures that she's included in all the decision-making processes along the way. Sometimes she's annoying and naive, but she bonds with Rooster to become kind of a surrogate daughter, or maybe even the son he never really knew, because she has some pretty masculine characteristics. She's independent, thrifty. She doesn't play the damsel in distress. The impressive supporting cast do an amazing job of adding to the lead characters in the film. These include Strother Martin, Dennis Hopper, and Robert Duvall. Duvall's character is a little more complex than you generally see in a Western. It's a good 13 minutes into the film before audiences actually see John Wayne, but his presence is immediate. He plays the slow-moving, overweight, one-eyed lawman that prefers to have a bottle of hooch turned up on his arm. This role ends up earning him his only Academy Award for Best Actor. A lot of people think that this was really just a sentimental win, but I don't see it that way at all. This is easily one of his most memorable performances. The dialogue is superb and hilarious. It's full of insults, sarcasm, spirit, and wit. Most of the filming took place around Ouray County, Colorado, mostly in the vicinity of Ridgway. The courtroom scenes were filmed at the Ouray County Courthouse. The scenes that were shot and take place at the dugout along the creek where Quincy and Moon are killed were filmed at Hot Creek on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada near the town of Mammoth Lakes, California. Filming was done from September to December of 1968. Mia Farrow was originally cast as Maddie, and she was really wanting this role. But prior to shooting of it, she did a film in England with Robert Mitchum, and he advised her not to work with director Henry Hathaway. He labeled him as cantankerous. Mia Farrow pled with the producer Hal Wallace to replace Hathaway with Roman Polanski, but Wallace refused to do this, so the actress quit the film. They offered the role to Michelle Carey, Sandra Locke, Tuesday Weld, but all three of these actresses were under contract for other films. Elvis Presley was the original choice to play LaBeef, but the producers turned him down when his agent, Colonel Tom Parker, demanded top billing over both Wayne and Darby. Glenn Campbell was then cast instead. The character of Rooster Cogburn was supposed to be around 40 years old. At the time, John Wayne was 61, and despite the film being a real commercial success, John Wayne wasn't pleased with the finished film. He stated numerous times after the film's release that he had starred in much better films, and he felt like he didn't deserve the Oscar that he received. He personally felt like Richard Burton should have gotten it for his portrayal of King Henry VIII in Anne of a Thousand Days. Most of the characters in the film are purely fictional. There is one character, though, who is based on a real person. That's the character of Judge Parker, who's actually based on Judge Isaac Parker of the Western District, who held court in Fort Smith. He was known as the hanging judge. It's said that John Wayne didn't like the performance that Kim Darby gave. He felt like it was slightly stiff, and Henry Hathaway hated Glenn Campbell's performance. He described him as being wooden, and he claimed that the only reason he cast him for this role was so they could have the hit theme song that would help promote the film. Now, the writer of the screenplay, Marguerite Roberts, had formerly been blacklisted because of her left-wing politics. John Wayne, who was on the other side of the aisle and was about as right-winged as you could get, knew this before he read her script. He read it and liked it. People tried to tell Wayne not to work with her because of her beliefs, and he ignored them. Wayne actually felt like this was the best screenplay that he had ever had in his hands. The Duke had several eye patches that he wore during the movie. Each one had a hole in them covered with wire mesh so Wayne could see out of both eyes. In 2011, his estate sold one of these patches for $48,000. The Golden Globe he won for this performance was sold at the same auction for $143,000. Now, John Wayne didn't care much for method actors, and Robert Duvall and his character fell under this category. John Wayne got terribly frustrated with him because he was constantly arguing with the director. Wayne had finally had enough, and he went over to Robert Duvall and told him that if he ever did it again, he would whip his butt, and threatened to punch the actor in the face. I'm not sure if this actually cured the problem, but I would bet it did. The horse that's shown in the final scene of the movie was a horse named Dollar, a 2-year-old chestnut quarter horse gelding. This was Wayne's favorite horse for over 10 years. He fell in love with this horse, which would carry him through several more westerns, including his final movie, The Shootist. He would often have the horse written into the scripts as a condition of him working on a project. It was pretty much known that he wouldn't let anyone else ride this horse. The film premiered in Little Rock, Arkansas on June 12, 1969. During its first year of release, the movie earned an estimated $11.5 million in rentals in the U.S. and Canada. This movie is an amusing, unassuming Western that's a blast to watch. If you haven't seen it in a while, take another look at it. I know you'll enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.